Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're finally gonna get, at least that's the plan, this boiler wood out of here. So I got a bunch of ripping to do. You know, we got willow, I believe that's silver maple, and then a little bit of locust here. So there's not too much here, but I mean, these are big. That's big, that's gigantic. So I got the 3 totes. That should be, I think, that'll probably fill up 3 totes for sure. I mean, that right there is almost a tote by itself. So we'll be using the 881. It's got a 41-inch bar on it, the 500i. I only got my 20-inch bar on it right now, so I'll probably end up ripping like this with the 500, even though that's a little longer than 20. That's a spruce log there. You know, it's not the greatest wood, but it'll burn, so I'll probably end up cut down, and one down the middle. You know, kind of similar how I'll do these. These bigger ones I'll use the 881. I'm not too sure how sharp the 881 is still, because I haven't used it probably since the last time I was out here, about a month ago now. So, but we're getting some more inventory in logs, as you can see. This whole row right here, that's all ash. The other side is some more ash, mixed hardwood, and then oak. Still got oak here, and I got a, you know, cherry and whatnot, and then hickory stuff here. So still got about probably 12 cords down below still that needs to get brought up, but I want to get this cleaned up here for sure. And then when I get back to processing, I'll do the hickory, cherry, get rid of all that, and probably work on all this oak. I mean, all this stuff's like not even 2 days of processing, so that way I can get this whole area nice and dressed up so we can start stacking inventory for next year. So, but it won't take long before you know it, so I'll be full of wood that'll be drying for next season. But just got done delivering some wood. It's going to be supposedly sunny today, so it should be a decent day. I mean, it's still in the 30s right now, but I'll be nice and hot within about 5 minutes. So did a bunch of deliveries all week. Tree jobs, of course. Yeah, I'll tell you about this one job that we did. Took down 2 trees and then trimmed up a bunch of branches around this guy's property. House is in the woods, pretty cool area. And the one tree, which is pretty big, probably like 30-inch diameter base, sugar maple, kind of leaning back towards the house, right off the corner of the house. Septic tanks right there, power lines. Had the lift there. We ended up topping out all the dead stuff on top. Pretty much left it just to be a spar, about a 30-foot spar, maybe 40. Put the rope in it to an oak tree, kind of the angle that we wanted to drop the spar, and it had it attached to the lift. So it's kind of hard to explain. It was probably how high that tree is, no tops on it, right? And if that's the tree, the house was like over here, septic tank. And I'll show you a video when we drop the spar. You know, rope was kind of going this direction, and then I'm over here kind of deal where the lift is to pull it. And Mark, he's making his gun cut, you know, to make the wedge. You know, lines it up kind of with the angle that we want. Well, I already had tension on the rope, just enough to take the back pressure off, you know, so it's not leaning with all that weight, take the weight off. You know, and I'm watching, I'm ready to go kind of deal. And my newer guy that's filming, as you'll see in the video here in a minute. Now Mark's just about to make the top part of the cut, and I'm paying attention, and all of a sudden the whole base, you could hear a big crack. It cracks and it rocks forward, like probably up top like 3 feet at least, and I didn't even have that much tension on it. And I look at Mark real quick, and you could tell he's like, holy smokes, he's about to jump off. So I just go, because I see that it's starting to wobble side to side, which is not good. And it just pulls right over, no back cut, no nothing. And if I remember, I'll put the picture in right after the video of the stump when he made the angle cut, some, you know, to angle where the tree's gonna fall. That was the only healthy part of the tree, green part of the tree. All the rest So he cut into that, which we had no idea. The rest was all punk, dry wood. But the whole top of the tree now, mind you, I'd say over 50% up the base, and the whole top minus a couple dead limbs was 100% green. And it had a back lean, so it was the best case scenario how it came over, because if we would have rigged, I think, one log, which we almost did, it would have been a bad day. That base would have failed, and the tree would have just went. So it pays to be cautious and really know what you're doing, because it could have hit the house, power line, septic tank. Mark could have got killed, but it came over perfectly. So you never know. But all right, enough talking. Let's but I'll show the video, guys, here like right now. So All right, guys, so we got it all cut up finally. I eventually just started cutting them into cookies. I mean, they're all manageable. So I thought that was some maple. It's actually all locust. Locust, some willow. That was all locust over there, minus I think one stick. So, and that one piece of spruce there. So we got 2 full. This one's almost. I'll have to grab one more tote, but it's all good wood. So I'll probably end up letting that sit for at least a month or so, just to get some more of that moisture out, because this stuff is heavy. But in a month or so it should be really cold, and this will all be good wood. This stuff here mostly is willow. You can tell already a lot of it's just dried out, so give it a couple weeks, that'll be good. In the extreme cold in the winter, that's a day, just because it's junk. Now those locusts, on the other hand, you know, should be two days, 3 days maybe, with all this at least. Especially if the kiln's off. In a month I should be done drying. So a lot of cutting, you know, and I do this on a daily basis during the week as far as doing tree work. Maybe not as much cutting as this, so I'm pretty weathered. You know, that 881, that chain was definitely not as sharp as it needed to be, but it still did fine. The 500i was ripping pretty good, still is. That's why I just said screw it and just started cutting them like this. But I tell you what though, if you're a firewood producer, okay, because I used to do this. I used to get my log trucks, and I used to, you know, walk up into the pile, cut them all, maybe stage them or just split them right there. I used to do that, and I think we did, this is years ago now, I don't know, 200 cords that way. And that's like humping. I mean, that's cutting, I don't know, 2-3 cords a day. But at the end of the day, I mean, you're shot. So unless you got somebody else splitting it right off the rip when you're cutting it, you know, it'd be the next day that you're going to split it, and then you're not cutting anything. And like I said, it was hard. I mean, we were cranking just to do 200 full cords a year that way, but you're busting your butt. Versus having a processor, yeah, there's still work involved with that as well, but you're not touching the wood 100 times, and you're not bending over, cutting. So if you want to grow like the stage that we are at, you know, doing 1,000 a year, and we did hit that, but that's cranking. I mean, that's a lot of, and we stacked it all too in the totes, that is, you know. And it's just a lot of work, and it's not just me. I mean, it's my wife helping, my parents when they're around, they're stacking wood. You know, we got the equipment to move it. You know, the biggest downfall right now is for me getting more and more wood for me to be able to grow. It's not the customers, they always come. So yeah, yeah, this won't be too bad. I got a couple, probably one more tote after that one, and that'll fill that up. You know, that's just a lot of work for, that's 4 totes. That'll probably give us maybe a week and a half of burning, maybe at weather like this for sure. But that's a lot of work for a week and a half worth of burning for us, that is. So I'd rather just process the logs on the processor, take the cutoffs, throw them in a tote, and be done with it. That's why I know a lot of you guys, why don't you bring back more wood from your tree work? Because this is a lot of work. My back is smoked. I'm tired. Now I gotta go do some quotes, come back, then I'll get this cleaned up. I'll just take this sawdust and push it over there, because I gotta get all that graded anyway, so it's fine. That's a lot of work for a week and a half of burning. But it is free. Well, it's technically paid for. I get paid to remove all this, but it's better than going to waste. You know, there's times customers ask for, you know, logs, I'll bring them, whatever. The only reason I didn't rip these up on site and ship it, because it's locust. The willow was too big, I was tired, I wanted to get out of there, so, or we wanted to get out of there. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Got the saws loaded up. Like I said, I gotta get going, I gotta do some work here. So, saws rang fine. I gotta touch up the big chain there, so it's a good thing I got a grinder, because doing it by hand takes a while. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think, but as always, keep burning.